Intelligent Ramblings with your host, Bill Lofton. Co-hosted by Gary Glenn and William Howington with help from John Coleman.
Well, hi there. Welcome to Intelligent Ramblings. I'm your host, Bill Lofton, and this is my co-host tonight, Gary Glenn and William Howington. Why don't we get straight to the news? It's tornado season. It seems that a level 3 tornado hit Greenville, Iowa, tore it up pretty good. You can see a path that goes right through the middle of town. I believe there's one death or more. They're still trying to sort it out. They don't know how many died, but there's more than one. I do know that. And at this point, there are 45 million people on alert because of those storms that are coming across right now. I think it's going north of us, so I think our tornado season is more in the fall. It's when we got to be ducking and running.
Well,
March
we get
is
a lot
pretty
in
bad.
summer too. This is still springtime
what?
though, technically. Yeah.
Gary said summer. I say March.
I said
It's
technically
bad.
this is still springtime. We get stuff in the summertime around here too. Remember all those thunderstorms?
Yeah,
Seems that
well,
we have more violent tornadoes now and more of them.
we get them all kinds of times. The Easter tornado is the one that tore us up pretty good a couple of years ago here. When I had 7 trees knocked down that night, and the tornado, the actual tornado, was about a mile north of me. I think we got the way it was whipping around, and it just reached over and grabbed and took a cedar, about a 80-foot cedar, and chunked it, and then it just went down through my side yard and took down 7 trees. I never did find out anything from the weather people, but what that was all about. But I'm kind of hidden, so you can't hardly really tell by the air. And it wasn't that wide a swath going through. It was probably 20 feet. But at 20 feet, it took out 7 trees. And the kicker was there was a oak it took down. And it was probably about a 70 or 80 foot oak. It was a big boy. I mean, that big around kind of oak. And the crazy part, 6 feet from that tree.
But you know, there's no
was a
such thing.
Go ahead, Gary.
Was it what?
6 feet from the tree,
6 feet from the tree was what?
a bucket, a 5-gallon bucket sitting upside down on a stump, 6 feet from the tree, that 70-foot tree that went down, still sitting there. Did not disturb it. Which made no sense at all. You take out 7 trees and you don't even move a bucket.
It's climate change.
No, there's no.
There's no such thing as climate change, though. No. Although, you know, that airplane, which dropped 100 feet and then went right straight back up 300 feet within the space of about 10 seconds. You know, they're now saying that clear air turbulence is much more pervasive now than it used to be. So I think I made up my mind. If I'm sitting down in an airplane, I got my seatbelt on.
Oh, no kidding. Well, you know, there's 20 in the hospital and 1 guy died. I think they said he had a heart attack from that
Yeah.
turbulence
There was
incident.
an American family on board, and as I said, there was an American family on board, and the mom broke her back, and the dad broke his neck. It didn't kill them, but it hurt them pretty bad.
Yeah, it just went basically in about a span of about 10 seconds. It dropped 100 yards, 100 feet, and then came up 300 feet. But that was pretty much a mess.
Yep.
We have another workplace shooting in outside of Philadelphia in Chester, Pennsylvania. 2 deaths, 3 other people injured. Some guy got pissed off at his work and walked in with a pistol and just started shooting people. I mean, how do we? That was not. You can't write that off to mental illness. You just got to write that off to an asshole.
I don't know.
I mean, what can we do?
I'm not sure we can do much of anything about those sorts of things. That's just evil.
Well, how do we? I mean, there's too many people getting killed by weapons that these idiots ought not to be having. I mean, we need some kind of gun control. Something's got to change, because it's not safe to go to a concert. It's not safe to sit in a schoolhouse. It's not safe to go pretty much anywhere, because at any time some idiot could pull out an AK-47 and just start shooting people for no particular reason.
Well, we all went to school when we all went to school when the boys would drive their pickup trucks to school with the shotguns and rifles in the gun racks, because they'd been hunting before school or they were going hunting after school. Nobody said much of anything, because everybody knew what those guns were for, and they were not for shooting your teachers and your classmates. But see, that's gone too. All of that. And you guys know that I still work in the school system a good bit. And one thing, when I give my kids free time, whether it's middle school, high school, whatever, I say, I do not want to see you playing any violent shooting games. I said, because we've had real people break into real schools with real weapons and shoot real people. Now, what you do on your own time, what your mom and dad allow you to do after school, that's your business, their business. But in here with me, no. That is an occasion for me to get in your face and yell at you, because I've told you not to do it. It's not appropriate.
I had something come up yesterday. One of the events I shot, I'm not going to say where or whatever, but I shoot PR for the event, and it was a high school graduation. And before the event, I'll walk around with a camera to shoot PR for it. Shoot the grads, shoot the tops of their caps that got decorated. Shoot all the grads together, smiling, hugging. Take a picture of them sitting there talking on their cell phone with their graduation garb on and all that stuff. And this had never really happened to me before, but I start, and I'll get groups of them. I'll say, okay, you 3 get together, click, you 3, and I have to do it fast because you don't have a lot of time to get it done. At least 3 times before I would take the picture, I'd look at it and making all kinds of signs and stuff like that. And I said, no, I'm not going to take a picture of you with your hands up doing weird things. I said, put your hands down beside yourself. I said, I'm not going to take a picture of you flashing signs and doing weird stuff. I said, that ain't going to happen. Put your hands down. And of course, there's the high school kids, and they put their hands down. I go, click, and keep moving. But it happened 3 times yesterday that I had to stop what I was doing and look at them and go, no, I'm not going to take a picture of you going like that. It ain't going to happen. Put your hands beside yourself. Click. The colleges, I've never had it. I've never had that happen. But
No.
it's there's some kind of a lack of respect for life, a lack of respect for each other. It's mind numbing that you can't own a gun.
It's a malaise.
It's a what?
There's a lack of respect. Period. Watch how many of them actually will stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah, I went out to eat about an hour ago, or 2 hours ago now, and a middle-aged man had his shorts down around his buttocks, showing his underwear. I don't understand this.
And you don't want to say anything to them either.
No.
Because they'll,
No.
hey man, this is my right to wear this. This is the way I want to wear it. Well, if you want to look like an idiot, well, everybody's laughing at you from behind your back, go ahead and walk around with your pants halfway down your to your knees. I don't think that is prevalent as it used to be. That was a thing or a fad where people walk around with their damn shorts all the way down to their damn knees. That got out of control. But
I still see some of it. Yeah.
I don't have a problem telling
But again,
people to pull
that
your
goes back
pants
to-
up. Well, when I had one of my cooks do it
Goes back.
in my kitchen, and I saw him, and I was like, "You need a belt or what?" And he says, "No, this is the way I wear them." I said, "You ain't wearing them like that in my kitchen." I said, "You can wear them outside. I don't care what you do when you walk out that door, but you're gonna get dressed correctly in here, or I'll fire you right now."
I just don't understand. Like I said, it's
There
a
you
lack
go.
of respect.
Lack of respect, right? Like I said, lack of respect for life, lack of respect for your cohorts, lack of respect for anybody that's in any kind of control or supervisory situation, you know, and lack of respect for the flag, lack of respect. I mean, it is the generation now is just I don't know. They don't care, and that all feeds into somebody walking into a high school with a AK-47 shooting people that they don't even know, just because they hurt his feelings.
Oh.
The way we used to handle that, if you hurt my feelings, I'll punch you in the mouth. Got my butt kicked several times, but I didn't have a problem starting them. They just don't know how to work things out anymore.
Well, I've always said that, you know, you might whip my ass, but I'm going to make it hard on you. And you may not want to come back for round two.
I'm going to get one in. Hey. Emery Moore, I got one in on him. He tore me up, give me a big old black eye, but I got him right here. I won't go into that long detailed story. Y'all have already probably heard it, but he was an upperclassman that picked on me, and I got tired of it, and every time he saw me, he punched me just for fun. So one day I turned around and I said, "Hey, Emery." Boom! I hit him right here because I was below him. You know, steps going down to the basement at school, going down to end up at Ms. Epperson's class.
Yeah.
I was coming up those
Yeah.
steps, and he punched me. I turned around, he was above me, and I whacked him right here. I clocked him. I mean, I whacked him hard. All my 112-pound self could do. And Emery he tore me up pretty good. Kicked my butt right there on the spot. And, of course, we both sat in the office. Mr. Victorman was there, and he said, "What happened? Who started this?" I looked at him, I said, "I fell." Emery said, "Yeah, I was trying to help him up, and I fell too." And he said, "Ain't neither one of you going to say anything, are you?" And I said, "Nah, I fell. That's what happened. I slipped. Emery was helping me up, and he fell." But,
He gives you a paddle?
no, he
was
let
pretty-
us go. He let us go.
That was pretty quick
Oh,
thinking, Bill.
I'll have to admit now, Alex Bryan and Frankie Bray came up to me that afternoon. Remember, I was the manager of the football team. And Frankie and Alex came up to me 2 separate times during that afternoon and said, I'll kick his ass for you if you want me to." And I was like, "No," I said, "I'll handle my own business. That's between me and Emery, and we'll work it out." But I'll never forget that Frankie did that and Alex did that. That they came up to me and said, "I'll go kick his ass right now," because he was a senior and I was like either 8th or 9th grade. I don't remember which. But it's
That's
just
before my time there.
that's how you settle things. You know, he picked on me, so I clocked him. Got my butt kicked. It was over. I said something nasty to Alan Thompson one day, and he said, let's meet outside and talk about it. And I said, "I'll be there." He wore me out.
Dang, that's two people that I didn't think would be in any kind of problem. Alan and Emery, they were always kind of nice.
Well, hell yeah, you were their size. It was all my fault with Alan. I just running my mouth one day, and he turned around and I said, "You got something for me?" You know how it was in high school. I was a little thug. I'd start fighting just for fun. And, yeah, he right there outside between the library and the main building, near the smoking area. Yeah, he wore me out. But that's how you settle things. You know, you didn't pull out your gun and shoot him. You settled it.
At a more innocent age, I'm afraid, my friend.
A more innocent age it was. Well, it looks like Nikki Haley is going to vote for Trump. I just lost a lot of respect for her.
She just caved, didn't she?
She caved.
ABC
she
News.
Went with a.
ABC.
Go ahead.
ABC News just ran a piece on that where, you know, back in the day, just a few short months ago, that she was, you know, kind of down talking Trump, and now she's turned around. It was kind of funny to hear her say those things and then turn around and say that she's going to vote for Trump now. The main reason she said was because Biden was such a catastrophe.
Yeah. You got to go with the lesser of two evils.
You either got crazy or you got obsolete. Yeah, there is no choice. We can either vote for a guy that may just fall off the stage at any minute or trip on anything at any minute and not remember what he was doing at any minute, or we can vote for somebody that's a wannabe dictator. You know, so I mean, if you can't see that about Trump, you know, I mean, he's a wannabe dictator.
I don't know about that. I think he just wants to be in charge. He thinks he can run things the right way, and he wants to prove it.
Well, Mike Anderson's here with us tonight, and he says you can't live your life in constant fear. That's absolutely right. That's why if you come to my house,
I agree with that.
You'll have a couple surprises waiting on you. I got a bad temper and a pit bull, and I'm locked and loaded.
Sweet.
Oh, he's a sweetie pie, but you don't want to. You don't want to mess with him. One we missed here. Allie J said schools shouldn't be able to punish students with paddle. Why not? Worked for us.
Yeah, I got paddled a lot of times.
Usually don't want to do that again either, did you?
No.
No, that got your attention. A little pain work goes a long way. Mike says primaries are just VP contests during sure thing nominees. Well, the problem is with Nikki Haley is the fact that Trump has said that there's no way in hell that she's going to be his vice president, which is kind of stupid.
And I kind of believe that.
You know, well, I mean, that could win him the election.
Yeah.
Hell, I might even vote for him. I could wish he would go ahead and fall out of his car while it's rolling, and Haley would be our president. You know, but
well, the alternative to that is Biden with Kamala Harris a heartbeat away.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be
damned if you do. Don't do it. Damned if you do. Damned if you don't. I don't know. Kamala's pretty tough, but she's a little bit too conservative for me. Don't believe a damn word that MF says.
Which one?
You talking about Trump? I don't, and I think he's a dictator wannabe, And I think that if he gets elected again, our country is in deep, deep shit.
No.
We're really in trouble if he gets elected again. Because
He's
he
gonna
wants
close
to.
the borders and open up oil and
and
do a
make
lot of good
himself the
things.
president for life. That's what he's going for, a Putin move,
He ain't gonna
and
do that.
he may break up our country. Yeah, well, then why didn't he leave after he lost the election?
I don't know, egotistical.
I mean, that was, and the whole January 6th thing. I mean.
Well, here's
he
the
didn't
thing.
organize that.
If Trump had kept his mouth shut 50% of the time that he didn't, he'd still be president. I believe that.
Yeah, he's got a problem with running his mouth, but still, I think he does a lot of good things. I'm for closing the border. I'm for opening up that pipeline.
Well, the only problem I got with closing the border is you're only going to close from Mexico where they can walk in. They're going to find a way to float in to Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana,
Texas.
or Texas, and then you got the whole Canadian border. We're going to shut it down too, build us a bubble. That's the only problem I got with shutting down the border. I mean, I do not want these people coming in on our border illegally at all. But,
They can't come in from Canada because they can't get into Canada. Canada shut their borders down. You try to get into Canada and see what happens.
There's a lot of woods between us and Canada. I believe you can get through if you wanted to.
Yeah, but then when you get caught, then you're in
There's,
serious trouble.
Well,
Yeah, there's a big, Canada. Doesn't Canada have like a big swath of clear cut all along the border? It's like a line,
know.
isn't it? Huh? Other than the places where you cross with paved roads and stuff like that. Anyway, here's the thing, guys. If people would quit giving jobs to undocumented immigrants, they'd quit coming.
yeah.
As long as there are jobs to be filled, people will try to fill them. And as long as people offer those jobs, then they are part of a problem rather than a solution. It's plain and so it's just economics. It's just economics. They want
don't have a
better
problem.
life and more money. And
I was gonna say I don't have a problem with jobs and stuff. I just don't like these free handouts, giving them free room and board and money and that kind of stuff. Where's my free room and board and money? Do I need to leave the country and slip back in?
We could have cured homelessness almost in this country with the money that we've spent on the people coming through the border.
I know.
And I appreciate the fact that they're coming from basically hell, but it needs to be done correctly. They need to come in and I'll admit that the procedure for becoming a citizen in this country is that thick in paperwork, but they need to go through it. First, they need to fix whatever they got to fix to make it easier to get in as a citizen. They need to quit flying their flags in our country from wherever they came from. We don't give a shit where they came from. But quit flying your flag in our country. This is America. If you want to be here, fly our flag. If you don't want to be here, leave.
Go home.
We don't care. But when I see somebody riding around with a flag on their car from Cuba, well, if you like that flag so much, take your ass back to Cuba. That's the way I feel about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's what needs to happen. you need to get the people that are in the country some sort of work visa or something that lasts longer than what they last now. If you're going to sit down residence here, you don't give them the rights of full citizens until they become a citizen. But they're going to pay taxes. They're going to pay into the system. They're going to pay into the system that supports everybody else, like we all do or did. And I still am, and some of y'all probably are too. They need to get into that. And once you become a full citizen, then you can vote and do all those other things. And if you don't want to do that, then fine. Like you say, go back home. But the idea of trying to round up everybody who's in this country illegally is ludicrous. That's just never going to happen because it just can't happen. It would take the combined forces of the National Guard and all the other branches of the military to even get started on that. Now then you got a police state. There's going to be all kinds of objections to that. So you need to get them into the system some way so that they're paying their way. I'm with you, William. I'm tired of giving away free stuff. Free stuff is not free stuff. Somebody's paying for that, and it's usually you and me and our kids.
Yep.
Like John was saying last week, the ultra rich don't pay very much in tax, not compared to what everybody else pays. The poor can't pay it, so it's the middle class. We're the ones that's supporting all of this, and it's time for people to make some hard decisions and get the country back on the right track. Otherwise, one of these days, all these chickens are going to come home to roost, and there's not going to be enough place for them to roost.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're going to start demanding.
The other thing
Go ahead.
Let me finish my thought on that. The other thing we do is we tax every dollar that goes out of this country to other countries. I don't care if it's Mexico, France, Canada, Venezuela, Guatemala, or East Samoa. Come on. Well, I guess Samoa, you probably would be exempt for that, and it's still a United States territory. Well, anyway, you get my idea. Anything that goes to a foreign country needs to be taxed.
I absolutely agree. 100%.
Period.
Well, Gary, let's go to another aspect of intelligent rumblings. And we'll do that about right now.
All right. Well, I guess it's my time. That, as I've told you, and a lot of you know this, that I still work in school systems as a substitute teacher, and mostly in middle and high school. And mostly on my end of the county, because after the COVID pandemic, there's a whole lot of teachers that need some time off. So I can work every day if I want to. Don't work every day, but most every day. So I'm in the school system a lot of the time. And I'll probably be back coaching wrestling again at South Hall Middle School like I have the last 2 seasons where they lured me out of retirement. But this is the time of year in the school system where things are winding down and you have various graduations. And I've been subbing for some people that had to go attend graduations of some sort or another. Maybe their kid is graduating from kindergarten and they'll be going to elementary school next year, although now all the elementary schools have some kind of a fancy, funny nickname like the Institute of Technology. Give me a break. It's a grammar school. Oh, you can call yourself whatever you want to, I suppose. But then you have people that will be graduating from elementary school to middle school. And then the middle schoolers will be going on to high school. And the high schoolers will be graduating, and they'll either go into the college, or they'll go into a technical school, or they'll go into the workforce. Maybe they go into the military. Anyway, all of these graduations symbolize a rite of passage of sorts that we've all had to go through at one time or another. At least most of us have gone through something very similar to that. Now, whether or not you go to graduate school or go into the military or go into the workforce, you know what? That's great. It's time for you to be a citizen. Time for you to be a good citizen. And as you go on through your life in school, it's time for you to learn how to behave. Imagine that. Imagine that. You know, at one time, families and schools raised good citizens. I'm not sure what we're doing now. I think a lot of times families want to be their kids' buddies. Listen, folks, let me tell you, your kids don't need another friend. They got lots of friends. What they need is a mom and a dad. You know, I've never told anybody that you got it great at whatever age you are, because I figure just about every age has what it can stand. Kindergartners have problems that are really big to kindergartners. Same thing with elementary school kids and middle school kids, high school kids. Everybody's got a problem. Everybody, every age has got about what it can stand, and it would be presumptuous or condescending of me to tell you otherwise. Oh, you really enjoy this. It's the best time of your life. Now, having said that, I wish I could go back sometimes with some of the things I know now and get me a do-over. But as the poet said, the moving finger writes and having writ moves on. All your piety or wit shall cancel a line or wash out a word of it. So let me give you a little bit of advice if you're on that cusp of going on into something else, or maybe you have a child or a grandchild. Maybe you can pass this on. Take a few chances every now and then. I'm not talking about taking stupid chances, but stretch yourself a little bit. Take a chance every now and then. Stay kind, because those people that you meet going up, sometimes you got to meet them when you're coming back down. Honesty is still a good policy in most situations. And remember, if you tell the truth, you don't have to remember what you say, because your story won't change, because it's the truth and you'll say the same thing at the same time. Strive to do your best in what you do. Take some pride in your job or your schoolwork. And remember this, it ain't all about you. Sometimes it's about me, and sometimes it's about that other person. Keep that in mind as you go on to this next stage of your life. I'm Gary Glenn, and that's my time out. Thanks for yours.
This webcast is brought to you by William Lofton Photography. They can be found at williamlofton.com. Offering event residential portraiture at williamlofton.com.
Well, the Braves blew it last night against the Cubs. They lost 4-3 in extra innings. I don't know what the problem with the Braves is, but they need to get it straightened out. In high school baseball, Cherokee Bluff out of Flowery Branch played Monday in Rome, Georgia at the minor league field there, and lost to Stars Mill in the state championship. They lost 11-1 and 2-1. They had a chance to tie that second game and maybe even win it, but again, blew it. But congratulations to Jeremy Kemp, who's the coach of Cherokee Bluff, on a great season. In golf, Xander Schauffele won the PGA Championship with a 21 under score. But the big news was Scotty Scheffler being arrested after driving his car around a wreck area at the PGA tournament in Louisville. And some overzealous policeman arrested him, and instead of just warning him or telling him to quit that, arrested him. Clearly this arrest shouldn't have happened, and I'm sure there'll be a lot to come of this later on down the road. In NASCAR, Joey Logano won at North Wilkesboro Speedway, but the big story was the fight between Ricky Stenhouse, who cold-cocked Kyle Busch. I'm sure a lot of people think Kyle Busch should be cold-cocked, but Stenhouse was fined $75,000 by NASCAR. In Athens, Georgia, a UGA wide receiver, Scobie White, was arrested for driving down the wrong way on a one-way street. Now, that's ridiculous. If I drive down the wrong way of a one-way street, I don't expect to be arrested. Just give me a ticket and move on. There's something wrong with the Athens-Clarke County Police. They always have it in for these UGA players and students. And they forget that's the reason why Athens even exists. Athens wasn't even a town hardly when UGA was formed 200 years ago. There's problems in Athens, Georgia's politics with this Democratic liberal mayor they've got. In WNBA basketball, Caitlin Clark is still trying to fit in with the rough style of the WNBA. She's scoring points and getting some assists, but she's not the all-world player she was at Iowa in the college ranks. Maybe she'll come around and get better. In college baseball, the University of Georgia baseball team lost in the first round of the SEC tournament, and they're sitting at home waiting anxiously to see whether or not they get a call to play in a regional, which starts next week. Georgia had a good season, and Charlie Condon was named the SEC Player of the Year, who set all kind of home run records. And he'll be probably the number one pick in the draft coming up this summer. Georgia Tech baseball has dropped 2 games in the ACC tournament, and they're going to be waiting to see whether or not they even make it to a regional. Hopefully they will, because the career will end of Tech reliever Ben King. Ben King is a graduate of Calhoun High School, where he played for the state championship football team as a center, and is one heck of a guy. He graduated from Tech with a 4.0 degree, 4.0 average, and is planning on enrolling in Emory next year and become a orthopedic surgeon like his daddy, Dr. Steve King, who graduated in 1987 from North Hall High School. He's one heck of a guy. I hope his career is not over and Tech makes it into the regional. Well, that's it tonight for sports. We'll see you next week.
Well, hi there. Let me change the music a little bit. That sounds better for me. Hey, I'm Bill Lofton. This is Whether or Not. The weather, well, we talked about all the tornadoes that have been going on, and they're tearing up the Midwest right now, and all we can do is pray for those people. I hope they fare well and get through this. There's a starting point to getting back with it, and you just got to reach that and get on it. This coming up weekend is a Memorial Day weekend, and I was looking for some graphics for Memorial Day, or to put on the show and whatnot, and I saw something that really disturbed me. And it was a graphic, a little short thing where kind of like the little box that goes around where I'm talking, where you see me, and it said Happy Memorial Day, and that disturbed me, number one. And number two, it got me to thinking that that's not what that's about. And so I got a little short presentation for you about Memorial Day, what it really means. This is what Memorial Day is to me. Memorial Day is different than Veterans Day and those other days, Armistice Day, whatever day. Memorial Day is to memorialize the men and women that have given their life to service our country. They've gone off to battle knowing that they may not come back, but they go anyway. And it affects not only the soldiers or the airmen or the sailors that are killed in battle, but it also affects the families. This is what Memorial Day is about, is thinking about the guys that sacrificed everything. They wrote a blank check when they joined the service, and they gave the ultimate sacrifice. So when you're eating your hot dogs and hamburgers, you need to say a prayer. And thank God that we have people that will do that. And think about the people they left behind. Now I want to read you some statistics. The American Civil War, we lost 620,000 Americans. World War II, we lost 405,000 Americans. World War I, we lost 116,000 Americans. Vietnam War, we lost 58,000 Americans. Korean War, 36,000 Americans. The Revolutionary War, we lost 25,000 Americans. That was when we were just being born as a country. War of 1812, we lost 20,000 Americans. Mexican-American War, we lost 13,000 Americans. The Alamo made that war famous. The War on Terror, which you're experiencing right now, since 2001, we've lost 7,000 Americans, not to mention the ones that were killed when those cowards flew into those towers. In the Spanish-American War, we lost 2,000 Americans. That's around 1.3 million Americans that have given their life for this country. And you need to think about that when you're sitting down and enjoying your fireworks and your hot dogs and your hamburgers and all that stuff. Think about the people that gave the ultimate sacrifice for our country. Well, that's it, gentlemen, for today's show. Hope everybody enjoyed it that was with us. And I hope everybody has a safe and happy Memorial Day. Happy in the fact that
Bill,
you're happy in the fact that you are safe and protected by people that are willing to sacrifice. Not happy, but happy for the fact that we live in a country that is protected. You want to mess with the United States, we'll kick your ass. Go ahead, Gary. I'm sorry.
I was in one of my weightlifting journeys was in a place called Saint-Avold in France. That is the largest military cemetery in Europe, bigger than any of the Normandy or any of those places. And if such a thing can be said to be pretty, it was pretty. Very well maintained, lots of flowers and manicured lawns, and just acres and acres of white crosses and some stars of David for the Jewish boys. They had a wall that had names on it, and I asked one of the guides, I said, "What does that mean?" They said, "Well, we know that they were missing in action, but didn't find the body." And occasionally, though, there would be a bronze tack behind one of the names, beside one of those names. And I said, "Now, what does that mean?" They said, well, we did find enough to identify that particular person, to identify them not just missing in action, but killed in action. And the thought occurred to me, that every one of those folks was somebody's son or husband, brother or uncle or something. And there may have been some women buried in there too. Of course, there are women buried now since women are serving in combat. And again, that is the full measure of devotion to a cause. And they have my ultimate respect for that.
Thank you, Gary. Want to thank everybody that came in and visited with us tonight. Here's one from Andrea Poe. Welcome back, William. William's been on assignment for a while. And one from Mike Anderson. Enjoy your freedoms like those recently descheduled. Well, appreciate you. We appreciate everybody that tuned in with us, and we appreciate the folks that listen to us later and hear it as we have some listeners that listen to our recording every week. We appreciate them. And we will be back next week with another episode of Intelligent Ramblings.
Good night.
Good night. Have a good evening.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.